Woo, boy. That was fun. Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show, presented by our friends at BetUS. That felt good. That felt good. That felt you know what that felt like? It felt appropriate. And we've been waiting for that a little bit. I know, the Knicks beat the crap out of the Pacers a week ago tonight, but it was very clear that the Pacers didn't really have it that night, and it's Halliburton didn't make a shot tonight. This was like, and I guess maybe the more important thing that night, it didn't even feel like the Knicks had their best. It felt like they did exercise a lot of the demons from opening night. And it was obviously a very strong performance. Didn't feel dominant. Tonight, by a final score of 128-98, against a Detroit Pistons team that we will talk about in a little bit, the Knicks did what we kind of expect this Knicks team to do a lot of this year. And I'm going to start the show with a quote from my good friend Jeremy Cohen, who I watched the game with tonight at T Squared Social. Shout out to everybody who came out to T Squared for our second Knicks watch party of the year. Again, we're going to keep doing these watch parties, so be on the lookout for more announcements about when they are going to be. Spoiler alert: we're going to have another one next Friday against the Bucks for the first in-season tournament game of the year. So we're watching this game, and the Knicks were up by some ungodly amount. And Jeremy goes to me. He says, good teams beat bad teams. Great teams destroy bad teams. And that is what the Knicks did tonight. The Knicks came into Detroit against a team that had played 5 games. And I know they were 1-4. But if you had watched any of them, and if you had listened to the very good pregame show with Andrew Claudio and Motor City Hoops, you would know that this was not a walkover Pistons team, at least based on what we saw through 5 games. They had been in every one of those games. They just came off beating the Philadelphia 76ers, albeit without Joel Embiid and Paul George. And they were competent. They were competitive. They, have made significant improvements on defense. So coming into this game, I know for myself, I was like, all right, got to take it seriously. Got to make sure, you cross your T's and dot your I's and all those sorts of things. Otherwise, this Pistons team is capable of coming up and surprising you and biting you in the behind. I didn't want to see the Knicks involved in a close game in the fourth quarter tonight. That was my worry. That was my mindset coming into the night. So then we see what we see, and the Knicks do what they do. And the question becomes, okay, how seriously should we take this? How much stock should we put into the Knicks' performance tonight? Because you look at the final numbers, 30-point win, 22 turnovers for the Pistons. That's one big number. Well, there's 3 big numbers for this game. 30, margin of victory, 22, Pistons turnovers, and then 47.4, which is the percentage that the Knicks shot from downtown. And it was much better than that for, I would say, probably the entire first half and even more of this game. So how seriously do we take this? How much stock can we put into a victory of this size against a team that is clearly like among the bottom third of the league? Whether are they the 21st best team in the league, or they're the 25th best team in the league, or they're the 27th best, I don't know. But they're somewhere in the bottom third. But it's early. It's early in the season. Again, they've been playing hard. They've been playing well. They were at home. I want to put some stock in this. I want to put some stock in this performance. I don't want to just write it off as like, it was the Pistons. Who cares? And I think we're allowed to put a little bit right? Just a little bit, just a teeny bit. Look at our sponsor, Juan, please. Only 1 gram of sugar. I'm going to put 1 gram of credence into how the Knicks played tonight, because I think a couple of the things that we saw were pretty real. So, thing number one, Jaylen Brunson getting going from deep. The funniest thing about this game, for me at least, is that I was watching this game throughout the whole time. And I see Brunson's missing shots that he would normally make. Missed a couple at the rim he would normally make. Missed a couple mid-rangers that he would normally make. And I'm like, it was like late in the second quarter, and I think I turned to somebody. I was like, man, Brunson's off tonight. And then you look at the stat sheet. 36 points, 14 to 26 from the field, 6 of 8 from deep. 5 assists. Did he have a turnover? 2 turnovers. Okay. And it is the dichotomy of Brunson, where if he misses anything inside the arc, as a Knick fan who's now gotten to watch him up close and personal for over 2 years, you're like, something. What's wrong with Brunson? He would usually make that shot. What's going on with him? And yet you look up and he has the game he has, and it really just shows how high the standards are. Is there something still maybe a little bit off with him inside the arc? Maybe, but I think tonight was so significant to see him start off 5 for 5 from behind the 3-point line. I thought that was huge, because at the end of the day, with how limited teams are going to be in their options for guarding this team, the less, I phrased that incorrectly, the more fearful that opponents are of Jaylen Brunson rising and firing from behind the arc, just the more unguardable the Knicks are going to become. And so to see him start off 5 for 5 from 3 was like, it was so important. And I think for as much as we are going to talk about the passing, and for as much as we were going to talk about the defense, I think for me, Brunson doing that, getting off to that start and finishing with this sort of game after he has kind of come out and struggled. And again, I'm acknowledging that there is still some struggles from inside the arc. But my Lord, once he gets that going, and he's going to get it going because he's Jaylen Brunson. Woo, boy. I mean, that's going to be frightening. So the 3-point stuff tonight was welcome. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to go. It's tough because on one hand, I want to go the defense. But then I look at Detroit and I look at the fact that for as spunky as they have been, and you heard it on the pregame pod, Cade Cunningham still has been struggling with turnovers in this game. He actually only had 1 turnover. Jaden Ivey 4, Jalen Duren 3, Tobias Harris 3, Ron Holland 3, Mikal Beasley 3. I mean, they finished with 22, so half their team had three or more turnovers. I still kind of want to go defense too. I know it was Detroit. I know they're prone. I know they didn't play their best game tonight. But boy, oh boy, were the Knicks everywhere. And in particular, OG Anunoby. I haven't thought about who I'm going to wind up making my 3-star player of the game. I mean, Brunson has 36 points on 22 shots, and it's like, how do you not make him the 3-star player of the game? I get it. I felt OG Anunoby tonight. Like, if the ball, forget if the ball was in the hands of the player he was guarding, it went beyond that. If the ball was on the side of the court that he was on, it was like, oh, like, Pistons are in trouble. Pistons better watch out. Pistons got to be careful here. It was to that level of absurdity. And that's what OG could do for you. And I think that, that was the vision. And that is why they were comfortable ultimately pairing Jaylen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns at the 1 and the 5. where in a league you wouldn't think that would be tenable. Well, the reason I think it becomes tenable is because of OG Anunoby, in large part, and not only OG. And you look at the stat sheet, OG Anunoby, 2 steals, same as Towns, same as Brunson, same as Hart. Mikal Bridges had 3. And Bridges, I thought everybody was awesome defensively tonight. Bridges was great too. I don't mean to put him down, but there is something about what Anunoby is able to do and the pressure that he is able to exert on ball handlers. Or if you are a ball handler and you're looking to make an entry pass or even an outlet, like a pass behind the arc, and OG's the guy defending the man that you're looking to pass to, the level of discomfort that you have to feel when you're having that notion, like, oh, he's over there, he's right there. Shit, maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know that we could quantify that. And I think you saw that play out tonight, and not just tonight. You've seen that play out over the course of the season. So I'm going defense with a spotlight on OG. Number 2, and number 3, I will go the passing, and the passing was the most fun part of tonight. And for our autograph signature moment of the game. I am going to go probably, it may be a little obscure, but there was a possession that came in the 3rd quarter. And shout out to Autograph for everything they're doing. If you want to get rewarded for your fandom, just go download the Autograph app. You could go do all the things you're already doing, read blogs, read my newsletter, listen to podcasts, listen to this podcast, see exclusive content from people like me and a bunch of other Knicks content creators. Go to the Autograph app, download it. Use code KFS. You'll be very happy. So my signature moment of the game came in the 3rd quarter. And the Knicks were up by a bunch already. I think they were up by 23 at the time. And it was a play in which every single player on the court not only touched the ball, but exerted pressure on the defense without slowing down the offense and slowing down the ball movement. And it resulted in a Mikal Bridges 24-foot 3-pointer assisted by Karl-Anthony Towns. And I thought that was so poetic because we know from the Miami game now, or we knew already before the trade happened, but we were reminded in the Miami game of when Karl Towns has it going that, there's no one in the league that could stop him. And I feel very comfortable saying that because he was defended by Bam Adebayo and it didn't matter. Where this offense reaches another level is where, and it's not just Karl Towns, it's everybody, but where they are able to take the individual pressure that they are able to put on defenses and turn that into easy offense for somebody else. And that's what Karl Towns did on that play. And that's what the Knicks did really all night long. And they did it by just moving without the ball. That's all this was. And that's what you saw ad nauseum, time and time and time again. Guys cutting into space. And you could do that if you have 5 guys on the floor who could shoot. Because the defense feels the pressure, got a guard on the perimeter, can't drop back, can't fall off. I think the conundrum, and I talked about this a little bit on the post game after the Miami game, is that there are no elite passers on this team. None of these guys are elite passers, but can collectively the through the pressure that they're able to put on defenses, and if you keep the dominoes going down, no one needs to be an elite passer to open up those sorts of opportunities. As long as you are looking for the pass, and as long as you are making the obvious pass and the available pass, it's not like nobody needs to throw like Luka Doncic, behind the back and over his head and through his jersey and up his shorts and whatever. Like you don't need to do that when you have all of these players on the floor who do all these different things and who are all unselfish and who are all smart and are all moving. You don't need to do all that. Just make the next pass. Make the simple pass. Now, I will say some of the passes that we saw tonight, I was damn impressed by, and particularly from Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns tonight, I think he finished with 7 assists. I know he had 7 assists when they took him out of the game towards the end of the third quarter. He finished with 7, but a team high 7. So again, symbolic because as the most matchup proof guy on the team, and yes, I say that over and above Jaylen Brunson. There's no one that could guard Karl-Anthony Towns. Like there are players in the league that could guard Jaylen Brunson because he's 6 foot, whatever he is, 6'1", 6'2". Towns, if Towns has it going, there's nobody that can guard him. So for him to be the one to lead the way in that particular stat category, it's pretty great. So shout out to Autograph again for our signature moment of the game. Again, go download the Autograph app and see all the great content that they have and earn points for your fandom and get your hands on all kinds of opportunities for rewards and lots of great stuff. And of course, check back with Autograph on Monday for my weekly 3x3. All right. Couple other things before we move on to the super chats. Mikal Bridges, nice to see another night, positive shooting night from him. So since he had a very rough first half in Miami, great second half shooting in Miami, and tonight 3 of 6 from behind the arc. Talked about OG Anunoby on the defensive end. Offensively, he was excellent tonight, 21 points, 8 of 15 overall. He was 3 of 5 from behind the arc. Talked about Towns, Brunson, Josh Hart. Josh Hart, man, what do you say about Josh Hart? Like, again, dude played 37 minutes tonight. It's like, no, there are no, it's like it's a Tiger Woods commercial. What do I do on a rainy day? I do this, I do that, I do this. There are no rainy days. No, there's no rainy days for Josh Hart. And then Deuce Pride chipping in with 28 minutes. Didn't have a great shooting night from the field. One note, I do want to say campaign. I saw one of the beat writers tweeted that he had gone to the locker room tonight. So I don't see that anything was asked about it in the post game. Let's hope it's nothing. Regarding Precious Achua, by the way, this is per James Edwards III. Tibbs said he's making good, steady progress, and he's starting to do stuff off the court. So that is a good sign. And we got to see the rookies too tonight, which was even better. Tyler Cole, a couple of nice baskets late. Look, did tonight what you're supposed to do tonight. Very good effort from the beginning. Took your opponent seriously, like you should take your opponent seriously. And you just rack up wins in a league where there is really, teams are going to have off nights like Detroit had tonight, but there's very few soft spots right now. So if you could go into a team's arena and you can take care of business and have it be a stress-free night, like just do it, move on to the next one, and that's all she wrote.